Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be going over the changes coming to Machinist in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion, Stormblood. Now I know what you're thinking, Happy, you've already done this, you did this video 2 weeks ago after live letter number 36, what's the deal? Well, the footage you're seeing here, as well as what I'm going to be sharing with you, is information that came out of the recent North American media tour for Stormblood. I got to play early access to all the jobs, so I have thoughts and ability changes that I want to share with you guys, information that's coming directly from that event. Now keep in mind that everything you see here, every number, every interaction between abilities, anything we say or see here, as you can see by the little watermark on the screen, is still subject to change. It's going to be in development and being balanced all the way up to the very end, so none of this is final until June 16th hits and you're the ones playing Machinist. So let's go over the things that are the same or remind you of some of the things we already know. The big thing we need to remind you of is for Machinist, cast times are completely gone. The same thing is true for Bard, but Gauss Barrel now has a completely different effect, which we'll go over in this video. So let's go over the things that remain the same, or at least somewhat the same. There's a lot of abilities that had like numerical or functional changes that were on Machinist before, and some old abilities also interact with new abilities differently, so I'll do my best to go over what's the same. So for those of you who were worried after live letter number 36, the Rook and Bishop auto turrets and their hypercharge effects are still the same. Now you can no longer make them provide TP and MP, which we'll talk about later, and the Bishop's damage also got the, quote, flare treatment, unquote, and it decays the more targets it hits. Let's see, Gauss Round is the same, Dismantle's the same, although it's actually been buffed a little bit. Ricochet is there, but instead of doing what it did before, it's now just a normal AoE that has that flare damage fall off we talked about with the Bishop auto turret. Wildfire is there, but it lasts for 5 less seconds, so it's a tighter window to get the damage in. Split, Slug, and Clean Shot and their proc systems are still there, which I'm sure you can see in the footage. Hotshot's there, Rapid Fire's there, Quick Reload is there, but Quick Reload now also reduces your heat by 10. Spread Shot is there, Blank is there, but now deals no damage, so it's just a knockback utility. Reassemble still the same, Heartbreak is still the same, Reload is there, but now your max ammo is 3 instead of 5, and it also prevents your heat gauge from generating. Ammo still interacts with abilities in the same way as before, however. Now the biggest change in Machinist is the addition of the heat gauge. Gauss Barrel now provides that gauge instead of adding cast times to the job. Gauss Barrel also increases your damage dealt. Now heat increases with every weapon skill you use, as well as various other abilities that allow you to manipulate it. When the heat gauge is over 50, Split Shot, Slug Shot, and Clean Shot are all enhanced and deal way more damage. Overheating, on the other hand, causes you to deal 20% less damage for its entire duration of about 10 seconds, and will unequip your Gauss Barrel at the end of its effect. Unequipping your Gauss Barrel at any point will reset your heat to 0, so at times it may be smart to, instead of getting to 100%, just to unequip the Gauss Barrel if you're not sure what to do. Your goal as Machinist is to try and stay between 50 and 100 heat for as long as possible without actually hitting 100 and overheating. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there are plenty of tools for you to do that. We mentioned that Reload stops your heat gauge generation. We mentioned that Quick Reload actually lowers your heat by 10. But that's not all you have. The Flamethrower generates 10 heat per tick, so you can use it for quick generation of the resource, as well as some AoE damage. Barrel Stabilizer is a new skill that sets your heat to 50, making it good for either quickly reducing heat or quickly generating it. Cooldown is another new ability you have that's on the global cooldown that expends 25 heat. It also deals more damage when the gauge is over 50, so you'll use this in place of Split, Slug, and Clean Shot when you're in need of lowering heat to make sure that you don't overheat, and it also does not use up your ammo. Ultimately, your goal is to line up that shortened Wildfire window with all of the heat-enhanced global cooldowns and off-global cooldowns that you possibly can. For that reason, a lot of the old skills are still handy, Ricochet, Rapid Fire, things like that. You're just going to want to be cramming it all into an even shorter window. Now, we mentioned the turrets earlier, and other than the Bishop changes, they haven't changed all too much. But your turret did get a new cooldown called Rook Overdrive. Now, this destroys your active Rook auto turret to do a huge burst of damage, so it does not work with the Bishop auto turret. This prevents you from actually resummoning the Rook auto turret for 30 seconds as well, so it's somewhat like a mix of a perfect balance, or I should say a tornado kick and a dissipation for a Scholar. Basically, you'd sacrifice the turret for wildfires. Actually, that's assuming that its damage even applies to wildfire, or I guess when a boss is going to leave the arena and it won't be back up in time before wildfire is back up. So I'd imagine if this does work for Wildfire, for enhancing Wildfire damage, you'd probably want to use the Rook Auto Turret and the Hypercharge effect like way before you use Wildfire. So and then try to use the Wildfire in the last like 10 to 12 seconds or so, and then you can actually use this while Hypercharge is, about to wear off. Those are all the major changes for the Machinist itself, but we also do have the crossroll stuff. I went over it in the Bard video, might as well go over it here. Their stun, silence, bind, and heavy effects are all in the crossroll system now. You have refresh and tactician, which are basically your ballad and paeon, but the equivalents for Machinist. Instead of your turrets providing the buff, you now use these crossroll skills to provide the buff. You have Swift Song, you have Invigorate and Second Wind. Yes, that means Machinists will finally have a self-heal in their kit. And finally, you have Palisade, which reduces physical damage taken by the party member you place this buff on by a large % for a short amount of time. It's a pretty long cooldown, so it's just a little bit of extra mitigation a couple of times throughout the fight. Overall, this along with Bard, I was really excited because I feel like I'm playing two completely different jobs. Machinist and Bard didn't really feel like they played alike back in 3.x, but they were undeniably similar in so many ways. And this feels like both Bard and Machinist have really gotten identities that are so different from one another, and I'm a huge, huge fan of it. More so than a lot of the other job changes going to be talking about in the upcoming videos. So I actually kind of want to level Machinist and Bard now. So, maybe that's what's happened to me. Maybe that's my fate from now on. But anyway, let me know what you think about what you see in these Machinist changes. Let me know in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for all the latest information, news, guides, everything you want to know about Stormblood. I got you covered. Until next time, everyone, take care.